All right, Rippers. Today we are going to be talking about the light we're going to put on to the PSA dagger that we got, right? So I really like this one. It's not the cheapest one out there, of course. Now, if you guys want really best bang for your buck, you'll go with the True Glow light laser combo that they have. You probably have to order it on the internet because a lot of places don't stock it. It's got really good lumens, really big bezel. It's a little larger unit, but it's not super big. It works great on pistols and rifles, right? It's just a great choice. I like using these kind rather than the like your standard light with a pressure switch on it, right? Just because they're adequate, they're small, you can switch them back and forth from your pistol to your rifle or just have it on there permanently. They're easily switchable. Most of them do have a pressure switch as well. This one here, this is the STREAMLIGHT TLR8, right? And what this has is plenty of lumens. 500 lumens is plenty of lumens for a home defense or a duty weapon. It has the ability to be able to switch it from either side on there. It has a strobe feature. It has its high-low settings. It also has the ability to turn it off, so you can lock it out so that it won't accidentally get turned on and burn the battery down. You know what I mean? You can switch between having the light on or just the laser on, or the light and the laser. And the reason I get the laser on and the light laser model is it's really no bigger than the just straight up light models. So why not, right? Have a little extra there. So like I said, it's got 500 lumens. It's an hour, 1.5 hours running time on full. It has a strobe, uses a CR123 lithium battery. Integrated laser sight, machined aluminum, ambidextrous operations, safe off feature, key kit included to securely fit a broad range of weapons, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. Let's see, IPX4 water resistant, lightweight at 2.64 ounces. Operating temperature is -20 to 120 Fahrenheit. And limited lifetime warranty. So, and these things, I've had them and beat the heck out of them. They really do work. So, let's see what we got in here. Well, you have all of these little things like this, right? And what these are little different little adapters to fit different rails and to be able to adjust different firearms and to get it as close as you can to the trigger bow. That's the goal, right? So, we've got those. Never figured out what that was for. That's probably if you don't have any notch whatsoever. And it gives you a little, actually spare parts. There's some little C-clips in there. Let's see, gives you a little STREAMLIGHT strong advertising thing. You know, thanks for that kind of thing to get you to go look at their website. Now, you'll see what this paper clips here, or this safety pins here in a minute for. So you got your instruction manual here. There's really not a lot to read in there. And you have your little, this is the guy you don't want to lose and you want to have in your kit when you that you keep on you, know, whether it's in your IFAK or whatever, or your admin pouch or something, but it's the little adjustment tool for adjusting, for sighting it in. And then it just takes a coin right here to tighten it down with, right? You can just use any old coin to stick in that slot. And this is spring loaded where it grips on to the firearm. Now this bezel right here where you see the red sticker, that'll eventually fall off, but that's your lock on safety feature where you can lock it out or lock it on. So when it's out like that, it won't work. And then when it's locked in, now it's ready to work. So if you push the button, it'll work, right? See, as you can see, whoo, look at that. That's 500 lumens for you, right? Now, and you can adjust it between light, laser, and whatnot. So what I found is when I got to fitting this, let's go ahead and clear this firearm first. Right there, you can see that we got empty magazines for safety. We've got nothing in the chamber. You guys can see that that's empty, right? So we've got an empty firearm, right? And we don't need the magazine in here for what we're gonna do. But as you can see right here, and let's go ahead and take the slide off really quick. So you can take that slide off. That's the next step. And basically all I did was is made sure after the firearm was empty, I pulled the trigger to release the trigger, pulled down this just like any Glock, and just slid, and kind of you just go back and forward a little bit like this, and it comes right off, as you guys saw. So now you've done, and if you need to see that in my other videos, I show that in more detail, but now the slide's off. So what we're going to do is you can see that when I tried out all of the different, let's see here, I tried out all the different tool, or these little adapters they give, that's about as close as I could find to one that got it to here, to the trigger guard. And as you can see, that's quite a reach. I'd actually have to push it with my thumb, right? And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you like, but I needed it to be more like, or I wanted it more like this, right? And that's what we're going for, is more right up to the trigger guard so that I can trigger it with my trigger, or take my trigger finger from here to hit the light and back, right? That's kind of where you want it. Well, to do that, that's the one downfall I'd say on the PSA dagger, is it only had one slot. This was the original slot. Now, this is the one I made, and I'm going to go through how I did that with you guys so that you can do it yourself, because it's not anything that people couldn't do at home. And I even did it with hand tools, because for this small a project, it was the best way to do it. And most people don't have things like this. Now you can go ahead and get yourself a Dremel tool, and you get yourself a cutting head like this on there, right? And once you put this on here, and you take your little safety pin, right? And what you do is you hold it on there, and you can kind of see right in there where your guide is, you know, where you want it, where that little, as you can see here, see that little bump right there? That's the adapter. So you want that to fit in a rail. So you can put it on there, and when there's no gap there, you'll see that it'll be like, kind of like that. And then you just go in there and score your line. And once you've got your line scored on this side right there, as you can see, you'll score the line on the other side, or you'll measure, you'll take your adapter out, measure it, so you can take it like this, the thickness, you see, and I'll stick it in there just for demonstration purposes, but you'll hold it there, score it on the other side so you know where your margins are. Now, once you've done that, what I would suggest doing is you get yourself either a triangle file like this, right? It's triangular in shape, or a half round that has a sharp edge on it. You want a sharp edge, and what you want to do is you want to score, you know, just real easy. You don't need to push a file hard. You want to let it do its work, right? So you'll just score the lines and make them even deeper on each side, right? Until you get kind of a groove going. Now from there, if you have a steady hand, I would suggest putting this into a vise between two pieces of wood, and you don't have to tighten it down hard, just enough to hold it. And then you could use both hands on your tool and use it just to work back and forth to clear out your channel to the depth you need it. Now the depth you want it is right, as you can see where this one is, right where the tip of your Picatinny rail is. That's about how deep you want it over here, right? Just deep enough to be able to get that adapter tool in there and set flush, right? Just like that one does. See that? Okay. So that being said, you can just keep working with your Dremel tool back and forth like this, getting it all cleaned out real nice. Now, what I did so that people could do this at home is once I got my groove started on each side and got it deep enough, what I did was I switched to a flat file that has teeth on the sides. And if you could find a little wider one than that, it would be a little easier, but this one will do right here. But just one that's either the same size as this notch or a little thinner like this one is. And I just started just really letting it work and doing its job like this. And then I'd switch to the other side. And then I can also take and as a bird just flew into the window. What a ding dong. Then don't worry, it's okay. I saw it fly off. Anyhow, then you can just take, and once you've got it to the right depth, you can just push to this side or this side to get your width where you want it, and you just let the file do the work for you. You don't have to muscle it. If you're getting tired and sore in your hands or grip, you're muscling it too hard. So now once you got it filed down, and it'll take a little while, and you can just do this right like this down on a surface. And this is how I did it. I just pushed it like this, letting it cut from each side, and moved to this side and cut until I had the depth I wanted and the width I wanted. Now, then to make it nice, because why not, right? You could just leave it like that if you wanted to, but I had a piece of wet and dry, and I just take a little spit, put it on there like that, right? Or you can take water as well. And I took, this is 800 grit, 600 grit will work too, but this is just what I had lying around. And I just took like this, and I just kind of moved it from side to side and just kind of polished things up real nice, right? Now you'll see that I got into the metal plate for the, this is, you know, just like a Glock has, they have a serial number plate in there and whatnot. For one, I think they could have done with a lot smaller one on the PSA. That might be another criticism, as well as giving us another rail there. That would have allowed us, maybe if they'd have pushed it back some, to have a few more rails here. So they should think about that in the future. But also, they could have gotten it a little deeper in their mold or made it a little smaller, but it doesn't matter, because right about the time I made contact with that metal plate, that was the depth I needed. So that actually worked out real well. You can see my channel looks really nice and clean, probably as clean as the factory, although I need to clean the sandpaper grid out of there. But as you can see, it looks just as nice as it does from the factory. So now you've got it to where, with the correct adapter, it will move. And when it clamps on, you can see I'm clamped on just as tight and as close to the thing as I could get. Now, I didn't bring it up to touching my bow. I could have, if I wanted to, filed this down a little bit more to make it thinner and bring it even in closer. And if you need to do that to reach your finger, you could go ahead and do that. And you could do that even with the flat file here, just working against this. To give yourself a little bit of thinnerness there. Just don't go too far. Don't go any more than about 1/4 of the thickness, because you want to maintain the stability of that trigger guard, right? If you needed to move it this way more. But also remember that you see how we're getting close to the framework of this metal piece right here. Well, that's not something we necessarily want to do, is get in any closer. I think this is a perfect spot for that, and you'll see when we get it mounted up here. We're going to go ahead and tighten her down here. And of course, I don't have a coin, but I do have a fingernail, or I can use one of these plastic jobbies just to get it for now. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, we're on there nice and tight. Look how nice and clean that looks, right? It's not up against that trigger guard, so it has a little distance there to keep it floating off of there. It's just a little behind the front of the frame, which is great because it'll help protect that bezel, right? And I can still reach it like that. Look at that. With just my trigger finger, I can still reach it, turn it off and on, right? And there you have it. Now to adjust this, and we'll go into this to detail at the range, but there are Allen heads here for the laser windage. And then, let's see. Oh, and then they have a hole right there for up and down. So they must have a cam in there as well. But this will move up and down. This moves your elevation on the laser. This moves your windage on the laser. And that's how you get that sighted in. You can do that in your house if you pace out from a wall 20 yards, or say 7 yards back, because that's kind of your confrontation distance, anywhere between say 7 and 15 yards. And with your sights on there, if you know they're on your iron sights, just get it so that dot at the yardage, that let's say 7 yards, the dot is just sitting right on top of your iron sights that are in there, right? Because then that way you know that if that dot's pointing where it's at, it's going to hit where it's supposed to hit. So that being said, once you're all tightened down, you're good to go. And as you can see, this bezel, if I just give it a 1/4 turn, now it's locked out so I don't burn my battery down, and it actually disconnects from the battery so you can leave your battery stored in there. However, I would still recommend checking your batteries at least once a year to make sure you don't get corrosion and all that kind of stuff, because batteries can go bad and fail, right? But as you'll note here, besides plenty of illumination, you've got you can see, look at how nice it doesn't fit any really past the trigger guard. And if you look at thickness, it's really no thicker than the gun, just a hair thicker than the gun. It really is one of the better ones out there on the market. It runs a little over $200, so that's something you might have to save up for and invest, whereas opposed to the True Glow that I told you about, which is going to be much bigger on the front of this, but just as good. And they're running around $70 right now, maybe a little more depending on what the market's doing, because as you guys know, right now things are going crazy. So that's all there is to doing that mount, making the notch that I made, right? Just be sure to take your time, don't rush it, and just take pride in your work, that like going the extra mile to get the fine grit sandpaper in there so that it looks nice. And there you have it. Now we'll put her back together. All you have to do with this is just slide her on, reverse of what you did, rack it once back. I always rack it twice just to be sure. Check the trigger. Now you're good. No magazine in the gun, empty magazine. And there you have it. That is our finished PSA duty gun dagger. And now we just have to get to the range and try her out to make sure that it works, right? Right. And I know you guys have been looking forward to that. I know I've been looking forward to that. Now, as you can see, just an overview of everything we did. We put a slide racker assister on here. That's for people with grip issues and whatnot. Or if your hand gets damaged or hurt in an altercation, you can charge this off of a tabletop easier. You can charge it off your jean pocket easier. Hook a piece of clothing, hook your shoe. It doesn't matter, but that's what this is for. We also have co-witnessed suppressor night sights now, as you can see right there. We've got those night sights on there. We've also got the Hollow Sun. It's the HS407C X2, right? So it's a 1 minute angle dot. It's got little holes drilled in each side of the apron to let water drill out if you're in drain out if you're in bad weather. Has a backup solar. This solar right here, if the battery dies, which is this compartment right there, if that happens to fail, the solar will run it as long as there's enough light outside, and it doesn't have to be sunny, but at least enough light outside to keep the dot working, so that way you're not left without a sight. But that is why we co-witness, and that's why I co-witness at least with my iron sights as well, so that way I have the ability to keep functioning even if this takes a total dive, right? Then it becomes a big charging handle, which I don't advise doing, but people do it and it will hold up to it, but I still just wouldn't do it. And we also finished this off by putting in our TLR8 STREAMLIGHT light laser combo. So now it's time to get to the range, test this thing out, make sure the magazine stays in it, make sure it runs reliably. And if it does, woohoo! We might even do some testing on there with my Osprey suppressor. Even though it's meant for a 45, it fits on the 9mm, and we'll see how it sounds suppressed as well. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed all this. I hope it helps you have the confidence at home to do these upgrades yourself, so that you have something that, say, is more functional or fits you or is just unique to what you like, right? If you have any suggestions you want to see or things that you would do, go ahead and put it in the comment section. I love seeing that. Always make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you don't like it, you can put a don't like too. I get that, but at least leave constructive criticism respectfully in the comment section, because I want to make it more enjoyable for you as well as myself. And also, always share it out on all your social media platforms. It really does help the word get out, because you won't believe how many times it takes me trying to upload these videos and getting it just right so that they'll let it go through their whatever AI and let me share something with you that is, well, nothing dangerous or violent or anything. It's all just positive. So that being said, it is appreciated for you to be sharing that out. And well, and you guys know I appreciate you all. As always, stay safe, stay secure, always be aware of your surroundings, and be getting ready and prepared for anything that may come your way. And if you have one of these and you wear it, well, get out there and practice with it, right? Take some training courses. There's lots of them out there that are good, probably in your local area, and do it for not only your safety, but the safety of others. Until next time, adios.